Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's session, I'm going to show you how to make the Calla Lily using the Afghan technique. For the yarn, you can use any color for the main flowers. Here I'm using like a mint green color, and you can use white and yellow for the flower center, and a light green color for the flower stem. For the hook, I'm using 2.5 hook, and for these flowers I would strongly recommend that you use a hook that is specific for Afghan stitches. So you can see that it has a very pointy end and also a long and straight body. This is because for this flower we will need to hold a lot of strands of yarn on the body of the hook. You should not use the hook like this for Afghan stitches, because when you have a lot of strand of yarn on the hook, this part will make this part is bigger, so it will make your stitches bigger than the other one. So do not use this one for an Afghan stitches project. Also, you will need a flower stem, 4 markers, and a hot glue gun. Okay, so let's get started. So we start with 15 chains. First make a slip knot, and do not count this one as a stitch. And you're going to do 15 chains. So if you look at the back of the chain stitch, you will see that it has the little back palm here, where we also call it the vertical bar. So we will pick up the vertical bar at the back to make the Afghan stitches. For this row, we will start from the second bar. It means that you're gonna skip the first bar and insert your hook into the second one. And you're gonna do 2 Afghan double crochet. So wrap your yarn on your hook, and like from the second bar, make an unfinished double crochet. This is 1 unfinished double crochet. Now you're going to do another one. That 2 unfinished double crochet. Now we're going to do 12 unfinished single crochet into the vertical bar. So the 12th unfinished single crochet will be the last vertical bar. And now you're going to pull the yarn through 2 loops at a time. Be careful not to pull it through more than 2 loops. And keep your tension consistent. So we finished row 1. For row 2, we'll start with making 3 chains. And then from the third vertical bar, so skip 2 vertical bar and start from the third one. And you're going to do 2 unfinished double crochet. One, and that 2 unfinished double crochet. Now again, we're going to do 12 unfinished single crochet. And that is also the last vertical bar. And then pull the yarn through 2 loops. Be very careful. As you can see, you will have many strands of yarn on your hook. So that's why you will need to use a hook that is specific for Afghan stitches, which has a long and like thin body. The third row is exactly the same as the second row. So you're going to do 3 chains. And then from the third vertical bar, you're going to make an unfinished double crochet. So skip 2 and insert your hook into the third one. That 1 unfinished double crochet. Now do another unfinished double crochet. Then 12 unfinished single crochet. Okay, that 12 unfinished single crochet, and you can see this is also the last vertical bar as well from the previous row. Now pull the yarn through the loops. For row 4, you're going to make 2 chains, and then from the third vertical bar, skip the first 2 vertical bar and insert your hook into the third one. You're going to make an unfinished double crochet and another unfinished double crochet. Then here we're going to do a short row, so you're not going to crochet until the end. We only do 8 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so you see here you still have 3 more vertical bar, but we're going to leave it and then pull the yarn through. For row 5, I'm going to do 3 chains, and then from the third vertical bar I'm going to do an unfinished double crochet and then 1 more unfinished double crochet. Then you're going to do 12 unfinished single crochet. So when you do 8 single crochet, we will do the next one, the 9 unfinished single crochet into the corner here, into this corner. That'll be 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you will pick up all the vertical bar that we left from the previous row. Then pull the yarn through. This short row technique is to make the top of the flowers wider than the bottom. Now row 6 is similar to row 5. So make 3 chain and then do 2 unfinished double crochet into the third vertical bar. And then do 12 unfinished single crochet. This is the last vertical bar of the previous row. Then pull the yarn for row 7. We're going to do another short row, so make 2 chain, and then from the 3rd vertical bar, skip the first 2, insert your hook into the 3rd one. You're going to do 1 unfinished single double crochet and then another unfinished double crochet. And here you're going to do 8 unfinished single crochet. So you can see we have 3 more vertical bar, but we're gonna leave it. You pull the yarn, for row 8. Alright, you're gonna connect it back to the end. So you're gonna make 3 chains, and from the 3rd vertical bar, make an unfinished double crochet, and then another double crochet, and then you're going to do 12 single crochet, unfinished single crochet. So 8 unfinished single crochet is the end. The 9th single crochet is going to be in the corner where you connect with the previous row, this space here. That is 9 and 10, 11, and the last unfinished single crochet is the last vertical bar that we left off from the previous row. Now pull the yarn through. Row 9 is similar to row 8. So you repeat 3 chains, do a unfinished double crochet into the 3rd vertical bar, and another unfinished double crochet, and then 12 unfinished single crochet until the end of the row here. That 12 unfinished single crochet. So you see this is the last vertical bar from the previous row. Now row 10, gonna start with 3 chain, and then from the 3rd vertical bar, do a double crochet, an unfinished double crochet, then another unfinished double crochet, and here you're gonna do 11 unfinished single crochet only. So we will leave one last vertical bar and work. And for the next 3 rows, we're gonna do the same. So we're gonna always leave the last vertical bar and work. So you can see that we have one vertical bar that we didn't work here. And similar for this row, you're gonna leave this vertical bar and work. So for row 11, again, you're gonna make 3 chains, and from the 3rd vertical bar, make an unfinished double crochet, then another unfinished double crochet. And here you're going to make 10 unfinished single crochet. And you can see we will leave the last vertical bar. If you're not familiar with picking up the vertical bar, you can use a marker and mark the last vertical bar that we didn't work on row 10, and this is row 11. And then again for the next row we're gonna skip this last vertical bar as well. So you can mark this vertical bar. So for row 12, again you're gonna do 3 chains, and from the third vertical bar make a double crochet, and then another double crochet, unfinished double crochet, and then you're gonna make 9 unfinished single crochet. So that'll be, so we have one more vertical bar at the end that we're not gonna work, and pull the yarn. So for row 13, you're gonna do 3 chains, and similar, you're gonna make unfinished double crochet into the third vertical bar, and then another double crochet. And here you're gonna do 8 unfinished single crochet. Yep, so you're gonna leave this last vertical bar unworked. You can mark this one. So in total we will have 4 vertical bar that we didn't work, and we will connect those vertical bar later when we do the other side of the flowers. So you finished row 13. This is 1/2 of the flower. Row 14 will be the center. This is row 14 will be the center of the flower, and then on the other side we will connect it back to the end. So for row 14 you're gonna start with 4 chains, and then from the second vertical bar we're gonna do 3 slip stitch. So skip the first one and make the first slip stitch into the second vertical bar. Okay, and then do 2 more slip stitch. So you finished the tip of the flower. Now you're gonna make 2 chains, and then you're gonna make 2 unfinished double crochet into the next 2 vertical bar. So 1, 2, and then 8 unfinished single crochet. When you do the last vertical bar is 7 single crochet. You need to do 1 more single crochet, and you're gonna insert your hook into the corner, the vertical bar where we already have 1 stitch in the previous row. So the space, the vertical bar before the marker. That row 14. You're gonna start with 1 chain, and then from the second vertical bar we're gonna do a slip stitch. So from this side of the flower, we're going to decrease our stitches by making the slip stitch. So skip the first bar, insert a hook into the second vertical bar, and then make a slip stitch and make one chain. Now you're going to do 2 unfinished double crochet into the next 2 vertical bar. 1, 2 unfinished double crochet. Then you're going to do 9 unfinished single crochet. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 6 unfinished single crochet, and then the 7 single crochet you're going to do in the corner. So this one you have 2 stitches already from the last 2 rows. Now you're going to make another one into that space. That's 7. The 8 single crochet won't be in the 4th marker. 8, and then the 9th, the last single crochet, is going to be again in this corner before the 3rd marker. And pull the yarn through. Now for row 16, you're going to make 1 chain, and from the second vertical bar make a slip stitch. Skip 1 and make a slip stitch into the second vertical bar, and then make 1 chain, then 2 unfinished double crochet into the next 2 vertical bar. Then you're going to make 10 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so that's 7 unfinished single crochet. The 8 unfinished single crochet going to be in the corner here before the 3rd marker. So 8. The 9 single crochet going to be in the 3rd marker, and then the 10th going to be in the next corner before the 2nd marker. Row 17, similarly, we're going to make 1 chain and 1 slip stitch into the second vertical bar. Then make another chain, and then 2 unfinished double crochet. Then you're going to make 11 unfinished single crochet. That 8 unfinished single crochet. The 9th unfinished single crochet going to be in the corner here before the 2nd marker. Then the 10th single crochet going to be in the 2nd marker, and then the 11th going to be in the space before the 1st marker. Okay, row 18, going to make 1 chain and slip stitch into the second vertical bar, and then 1 chain and 2 unfinished double crochet. And you're going to do 12 unfinished single crochet. That 9, the 10th unfinished single crochet going to be in the corner here just before the 1st marker. Then the 11 unfinished single crochet going to be in the first marker, and you need to do one more into the next corner. That 12 unfinished single crochet. Now pull the yarn through. Row 19 is similar to row 18. Make one chain and slip stitch into the second vertical bar, and make one chain and then 2 unfinished double crochet, and then 12 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so that 10, the 11 one going to be in the next corner, and then the 12th again going to be in the next corner here. Next, that 12. Row 20, you're going to make 2 chains, and then from the third vertical bar, so skip 2, and from the third vertical bar you're going to make 2 unfinished double crochet. Make another unfinished double crochet, and then you're going to make 8 unfinished single crochet. So this row going to be, again, it's going to be a short row on the other side of the flower. Row 21, make 1 chain, and from the second vertical bar make a slip stitch and make 1 chain, and then 2 unfinished double crochet, and you're going to make 12 unfinished single crochet. That's 6, the 7 one, the 7 going to be in the corner, then continue 8, 9, 10, the 11. So if you spread the work, you can see the 11, you're going to continue working in the next space, the next space here. So, and the last unfinished single crochet going to be in the next space. So you got 12. Row 22 is similar to row 21. So just repeat. So 1 chain and make a slip stitch into the second vertical bar, and 1 chain, and then 2 unfinished double crochet, and you're going to make 12 unfinished single crochet. So that 10, the 11 single crochet, you're going to connect back to the space, the corner, and then moving to the next space at the end. So you got 12. Row 23 and make 2 chains, and then from the third vertical bar make 2 unfinished double crochet, and then make 8 unfinished single crochet. So this again going to be a short row. Row 24, make 1 chain and make a slip stitch into the second vertical bar, then 1 chain, and then 2 unfinished double crochet into the next 2 vertical bar. and then you're going to make 12 unfinished single crochet. That 10, the 11th one, insert into that corner, and then 12. So you see at this stage you should have 2 more space until the end, and then we have 2 more rows. 25 and 26 is similar to row 24. So make 1 chain and slip stitch into the second vertical bar, and then 2 unfinished double crochet, and then 12 unfinished single crochet. That 10, the 11th one is going to be in the corner, and then 12th is going to be the second to last corner space here. Then repeat 1 more time. Okay, that 10, the 11 going to be in the corner, and then the last unfinished single crochet going to be in the last space here. It's going to be the end of the row. Okay, so the last row going to be 1 chain, and then make 1 chain, and then from the second vertical bar you're going to make 14 slip stitches until the end. The last slip stitch going to be in the last vertical bar. And you can cut the yarn. So we finished the flowers. So we used the yellow yarn for the flower center, and it's very easy, simple to make the flower center. So you start with a magic ring. So make a loop with the end tail on the right and your working tail on the left, and then make a chain stitch. Do not count this one as a stitch, and then you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic ring. Then pull this end tail tightly to close the loop. Then make a slip stitch into the first stitch. And pull this slip stitch tight. Then from row 2 to row 10, you're just going to do 6 single crochet around without increasing or decreasing. Just make 6 single crochet in every single row. Then do a slip stitch. Like this. So continue making 8 more rows. So this is the flower center, and you will have 10 rows in total. So now we will assemble the flowers. You will need a flower stem and a hot glue gun. So you put some glue on the top of the stem and then gently insert the stem into the flower center. Then you can wrap this until so we're gonna glue this flower center to the center of the flower, and we will start from like the 1, 2, 3 from the 4th row from the bottom. So apply some glue from here to there. And then place your flower center from the 4th row like that. Now we're gonna wrap the end of the flowers. So this half of the flower will be on top of the other half, and we will overlap it for like 2 rows. So you will apply some glue on the top here and along the side, and then down to the bottom. Now use the green yarn. I use the bright color green yarn. This one is color number 48 for the flower stem. You can cut off this strand of yarn. So you see here there's a gap where you still can see the wire. So we want to wrap to cover right from here. Then just continue wrapping until the end of the wire and apply some glue at the end. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the tutorials, and please like and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos. Thank you.